Are you waking up tired, noticing that the firm morning response you once relied on just isn't there anymore? Many men over 60 tell me they quietly accept this as just aging. But that belief is often incomplete and sometimes completely wrong. I'm a board-certified urologist, and for decades I've helped men understand what's really happening inside their bodies: circulation, nerve signaling, and energy. Today, I'll explain 2 overlooked pressure points connected to these changes. But there's a small technique detail most men miss. Tell me where you're watching from, and if this helps, consider subscribing. But here's what most people don't realize. That quiet moment in the morning when you notice firmness, or the absence of it, is not just about sexuality, it's about health. One of the most common fears men share with me after 60 is rarely spoken out loud. Doctor, is my body shutting down? It's a deeply human worry. And I want you to hear this clearly and calmly. In many cases, what you're noticing is not a verdict on your masculinity. It's information from your body. Morning firmness is better understood as a biological signal, not a performance review. During sleep, your body cycles through carefully timed neurological and vascular processes. These cycles are not random. They are part of your nervous system's nightly maintenance program. I often tell my patients, your body runs automatic tests while you sleep. It checks circulation, it checks nerve function, it checks tissue responsiveness. And one of the visible outcomes of that internal testing can be a nighttime or early morning erection. This process begins in the brain. As you move through different sleep stages, especially during REM sleep, your nervous system shifts gears. The rest and repair branch, what we call the parasympathetic system, becomes more active. This state encourages blood vessels to relax. When vessels relax, blood flows more easily. In the penile tissue, that relaxation allows chambers to fill naturally. No conscious effort, no stimulation required, just biology doing its job. At the same time, your nerves are participating in a rhythm of activation and recovery. Think of nerves like electrical wiring that must remain responsive. Nighttime erections help maintain that responsiveness. They oxygenate tissue, they preserve elasticity, they are in many ways a form of physiological housekeeping. That's why a consistent absence of morning firmness can sometimes reflect changes in circulation or nerve signaling long before it reflects anything else. Then there's testosterone, a hormone many men assume disappears completely with age. It doesn't. Testosterone follows a daily rhythm. Levels tend to rise during sleep and peak in the early morning hours. Even in your 60s, 70s, and beyond, your body still produces testosterone. The difference is that the peaks may be lower and the signals may be less robust, but the system is not off, it is adjusting. Now here's where confusion often creates unnecessary anxiety. Aging is real, biological change is real, but aging and dysfunction are not the same thing. With normal aging, you may notice variability. Some mornings feel strong, others less so. That fluctuation is common. Dysfunction, however, tends to show a pattern: persistent reduction, progressive difficulty, or complete absence over time. The distinction matters because one calls for understanding and optimization, while the other may call for evaluation and treatment. Reduced firmness often reflects circulation changes, not masculinity loss. Blood vessels, like all tissues, evolve with time. They may become less flexible. The lining of the vessels, the endothelium, may produce less nitric oxide, the molecule responsible for signaling relaxation. Men over 50 still produce nitric oxide, just less efficiently. That single shift can influence blood flow dynamics in ways you can feel but not see. And yet this is not a story of inevitability, because circulation is influenced by many factors beyond age. Sleep quality plays a powerful role. Fragmented sleep disrupts nerve cycles and hormone rhythms. Stress quietly tightens blood vessels through stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. Medications for blood pressure, mood, or prostate symptoms can alter vascular response. Even simple inactivity, Long hours sitting, reduced walking, less movement, slows the very circulatory efficiency your body depends on. This is why I encourage men to interpret changes with curiosity instead of fear. Your body is communicating, not condemning. A softer morning response does not mean you are losing manhood. It may mean your blood vessels need support, your sleep needs protection, your stress needs calming, your circulation needs encouragement. Emotionally, this shift in perspective can be liberating. Shame thrives in misunderstanding. Clarity dissolves it. When you understand that morning firmness is a health indicator, you stop viewing your body as an adversary. You begin seeing it as a system responding to inputs: sleep, stress, movement, vascular health. And here's the reassuring truth many men never hear often enough. Fluctuations are normal. Variability is human. Even younger men experience changes tied to fatigue, anxiety, illness, or lifestyle shifts. After 60, your system may simply be more sensitive to those influences. That is not failure. That is physiology. But here's what surprises most men. Circulation can often be influenced without medication if you stimulate the right pathways. But here's what most men have never been told. There is a small, often ignored area of the body that plays a surprisingly important role in pelvic circulation and nerve communication. Many men over 60 have never even heard its name, yet it sits quietly at the center of several pathways linked to firmness, sensitivity, and vascular response. Pressure. Point number 1, the perineal activation point. This area influences nerve signaling and local blood flow connected to penile response. And before your mind jumps to anything complicated, let me explain this in a calm, clinical, and respectful way. The perineum is the region between the scrotum and the anus. It's not a structure men commonly think about, yet it is a crossroads of neurological and vascular activity. Beneath the surface lie branches of the pudendal nerve, small blood vessels, and muscular layers that support pelvic organs. Think of this point as a communication hub, not because it magically creates anything, but because it participates in how signals and circulation move through the pelvic floor. As men age, several subtle changes occur in this region. Muscles may tighten from years of sitting or stress. Blood flow may become less efficient. Nerve responsiveness may decrease slightly. None of these shifts are dramatic, but together they can influence how easily the body initiates and maintains firmness. This is why gentle stimulation of the perineal area can sometimes encourage better vascular and neurological cooperation. Now here's the key principle. We're not forcing anything, we're encouraging circulation. When gentle pressure is applied to the perineal activation point, nearby sensory nerves send signals upward through the spinal cord. These signals can enhance parasympathetic activity, the branch of your nervous system associated with relaxation, repair, and blood vessel dilation. This state is biologically favorable for erection because it supports smooth muscle relaxation within penile tissue. At the same time, light mechanical stimulation may influence local blood movement, not by pushing blood manually, but by creating subtle shifts in vascular tone. Blood vessels respond to pressure, temperature, and nerve input. Even mild stimulation can alter how receptive those vessels are to dilation signals. This is especially relevant for men over 60 because vascular responsiveness often becomes the limiting factor. The body still knows what to do. The pathways are still present, but the efficiency of the response may be reduced. Gentle activation can act like a reminder rather than a demand. But let's pause here for something critically important: safety. This technique should never involve pain, force, or aggressive pressure. Discomfort triggers the opposite of what we want. Pain activates the sympathetic nervous system, your fight or flight response, which tightens blood vessels and increases muscle tension. That's counterproductive. The goal is calm stimulation, not intensity. I tell my patients to imagine adjusting a sensitive dial, not pressing a stubborn button. The pressure should feel mild, controlled, and sustainable. Breathing should remain relaxed. The surrounding muscles, abdomen, thighs, shoulders, should stay loose. If you feel strain, tension, or the urge to brace, the pressure is too strong. Now let's talk about practical application in a simple, non-technical way. Timing matters. The body is more receptive when it is already moving toward a relaxed state. For many men, this means evening hours, before sleep, or during a wind-down routine. Others find benefit in the morning when the nervous system is naturally transitioning out of sleep cycles. Posture also plays a role. A comfortable seated or reclined position allows pelvic muscles to soften. Rigid positioning can create unnecessary tension. The body responds best when it feels safe and supported. Duration should be moderate and unforced. This is not about endurance. Short, consistent sessions tend to work better than long, sporadic ones. Nerves and blood vessels respond to repetition and rhythm more than intensity. And perhaps most importantly, expectations must remain realistic. This is not an instant switch. The body adapts gradually. Some men notice subtle warmth, relaxation, or increased awareness before any visible change. That's normal. Biological systems often shift quietly before producing obvious effects. Emotionally, this approach can be empowering. Instead of feeling passive or dependent, you are engaging with your physiology in a controlled, respectful way. You're working with your body rather than fighting it. But stimulation alone isn't enough. Without the second point, many men see only partial improvement. But here's where the story becomes even more interesting. Because firmness is never just a local event. It's a circulation event, and circulation depends on pathways. Many men focus only on the pelvic region, assuming everything begins and ends there. In reality, what happens upstream often determines what happens downstream. Pressure point number 2, the inner thigh circulation point. It supports vascular responsiveness and downstream blood delivery. And for men over 60, this becomes incredibly relevant because the efficiency of blood movement, not simply hormone levels, often shapes the quality of morning response. Let's approach this calmly and clearly. Along the inner thigh runs one of the body's most important vascular routes, the femoral artery and its associated network. This blood highway is responsible for delivering oxygen-rich blood to much of the lower body. While erections involve specialized penile vessels, they still depend on the broader circulatory system feeding into that region. Blood flow is about pathways, not just organs. If upstream delivery is sluggish, restricted, or poorly responsive, downstream tissues receive weaker signals and reduced volume. That doesn't mean something is broken. It means the system may be less efficient, a common and often reversible situation. The inner thigh circulation point sits along this vascular corridor where gentle external stimulation can influence local vessel behavior and nerve reflexes. Again, we're not pushing blood manually. We're interacting with the body's regulatory systems. Here's the biology in simple terms. Arteries are not rigid pipes. They are dynamic tissues lined with cells that respond to mechanical stimulation, temperature changes, and nerve input. When conditions are favorable, these vessels relax and widen, a process called dilation. This widening improves blood delivery. With age, arteries may stiffen slightly. The endothelial lining may produce less nitric oxide. Vessel responsiveness may decrease. These are gradual shifts, not sudden failures, but they can reduce how easily blood flow increases when needed. Gentle pressure and massage along the inner thigh region can create subtle mechanical and neurological effects. Sensory nerves detect touch and pressure, sending signals that influence vascular tone. Local circulation may increase, warmth may develop, muscular tension may decrease. Improving upstream movement can influence downstream response. This is why some men notice that when their legs feel cold, stiff, or heavy, their morning firmness also seems reduced. It's not coincidence, it's physiology. Relatability matters here. Many men over 60 experience cold feet, leg stiffness, or reduced mobility. Long hours sitting, less walking, and decreased physical activity all slow circulatory efficiency. Blood tends to pool, vessel elasticity declines, muscles tighten around vascular structures, your body becomes quieter, not weaker. The goal of stimulating this pressure point is to reintroduce gentle signals of movement, warmth, and vascular engagement. Not aggressively, not forcefully, calmly. Safety, once again, is essential. Pressure should be light to moderate. There should be no pain, numbness, or discomfort. Strong pressure can compress vessels and trigger protective tension, exactly the opposite of what we want. The sensation should feel soothing, not invasive. Breathing should remain steady. The leg muscles should stay relaxed. If you notice tightening in your jaw, shoulders, or abdomen, that's a sign your nervous system is shifting toward tension rather than relaxation. Now let's connect this to real life. This technique is particularly useful for men with sedentary habits. If your day involves extended sitting, driving, television, desk work, circulation through the lower body naturally slows. Gentle stimulation of the inner thigh circulation point can act as a mild vascular wake-up call. It can also complement walking, stretching, and improved sleep. Remember, no single technique replaces lifestyle foundations, but small targeted actions can enhance overall responsiveness. Some men describe a gradual sensation of warmth or lightness in the legs. Others notice improved relaxation in the pelvic region. These are indirect but meaningful shifts. Circulation is a network effect, and patience is key. Vascular adaptation does not occur overnight. Blood vessels respond to repeated signals. Consistency teaches the system to become more flexible and receptive. Expecting instant transformation often leads to disappointment, but when approached calmly and regularly, many men experience subtle, progressive improvement. And this is where most men get it wrong. They apply pressure correctly, but at the wrong time of day. Now here's the mistake most seniors make. They learn a technique, try it once or twice, and when the results don't match their expectations, they quietly conclude, "This doesn't work for me." But the truth is more nuanced. Even correct methods can fail when applied with the wrong pressure, the wrong rhythm, or the wrong mindset. And understanding these mistakes can prevent a great deal of frustration. The first and most common error is simple: too much pressure. Many men assume that if gentle stimulation is good, stronger pressure must be better. But your body does not respond well to force in these sensitive regions. Excessive pressure triggers protective muscle tension. Instead of relaxing blood vessels and encouraging parasympathetic activity, the nervous system shifts into defense mode. Muscles tighten, vessels constrict. The very response you're trying to support becomes inhibited. I often tell my patients, the body listens best to a calm voice, not a shout. Discomfort, pain, or numbness are signals that pressure is too strong. The goal is subtle encouragement, not intensity. Think of cooperation, not control. The second mistake is inconsistency. Nerves respond to repetition, blood vessels respond to patterns, but many men apply these techniques sporadically, once this week, twice next week, then not again for days. Biological systems thrive on rhythm. Just as exercise conditions muscles over time, gentle stimulation conditions nerve responsiveness and vascular flexibility through regularity. Your body is adaptive, but it requires consistent signals. Short, steady practice is more effective than occasional, prolonged sessions. Consistency teaches the nervous system that this stimulus is safe and familiar. That familiarity reduces resistance and improves response. The third mistake is expecting instant results. This one is deeply human. We live in a world of immediate feedback, fast downloads, quick fixes, rapid solutions, but vascular adaptation takes time. Blood vessels do not suddenly become more elastic overnight. Nerve sensitivity does not recalibrate in a single session. When men expect dramatic change immediately, they overlook the subtle early signs of progress: increased warmth, improved relaxation, slightly better responsiveness. These small shifts are often the first indicators that the system is adjusting. Impatience can blind you to improvement already underway. The fourth mistake, and perhaps the most overlooked, is ignoring sleep quality. Remember what we discussed earlier. Your body runs critical nerve and hormone cycles during sleep. Night cycles drive natural response. Fragmented sleep disrupts parasympathetic activity, reduces testosterone rhythm, and interferes with the very mechanisms responsible for morning firmness. You cannot separate erection quality from sleep quality. Men sometimes focus intensely on techniques while neglecting the foundation that supports them. Poor sleep quietly undermines progress. Now, let's simplify the biology behind all this. Nerve sensitivity depends on balanced stimulation. Too little input leads to dull responsiveness. Too much input leads to protective shutdown. The nervous system seeks equilibrium. Blood vessel conditioning works in a similar way. Gentle, repeated signals promote flexibility and dilation capacity. Stress, tension, and irregular habits promote stiffness and reduced responsiveness. Hormonal rhythm, particularly testosterone, depends heavily on sleep cycles, stress levels, and metabolic health. Disruption in these areas often appears first as reduced morning firmness. Seen together, these factors explain why setbacks are normal. Progress is rarely linear. Some days feel encouraging, others feel unchanged. This variability is not failure. It is biology adjusting to multiple influences: sleep, stress, circulation, mental state. I want you to hear something reassuring. If you've tried similar approaches before and felt disappointed, that experience is common. It does not mean your body is incapable of improvement. It often means the technique, timing, or expectations were mismatched. Self-criticism is far more damaging than most men realize. Stress about performance increases sympathetic activity, which tightens blood vessels and reduces erectile responsiveness. Anxiety becomes part of the problem it fears. Instead, approach this process with curiosity and patience, calm repetition, gentle pressure, realistic timelines, respect for sleep. These are the conditions under which the body tends to respond most favorably. And remember, improvement is not defined by perfection. It is defined by direction. Even modest positive changes in firmness, frequency, or confidence represent meaningful physiological shifts. Now, here's what most doctors never fully explain. Improvement is rarely about a single trick. But here's the deeper truth behind everything we've discussed. This journey was never about achieving some unrealistic standard. It was about restoring a sense of confidence that many men quietly lose when their mornings begin to change. Waking up tired, uncertain, wondering why your body no longer responds the way it once did. That experience can feel isolating, but it is far more common and far more reversible than most men believe. Your body is not betraying you. The male body remains remarkably adaptable at 60, 70, and well beyond. It is not locked into decline. It responds to signals, habits, rhythm, and care. What may feel like a sudden loss is often a gradual shift in circulation, nerve sensitivity, sleep quality, and stress balance, and gradual shifts can be gently guided in a better direction. Small signals truly can create meaningful changes. Not through intensity, not through force, but through consistency. This is where many men rediscover a sense of control. When you replace urgency with patience, the nervous system softens. Blood vessels respond more willingly. Sleep cycles stabilize. The body begins to cooperate rather than resist. Masculine confidence is built on patience, not pressure. Many men I see regain morning vitality gradually and quietly. A subtle improvement here, a stronger response there. And over time, something even more important returns: self-trust. That technique detail most men miss was never about doing something extreme. It was about understanding that gentle, regular practice always outperforms occasional intensity. Confidence grows best in an environment free from fear. If this conversation brought you clarity or reassurance, know that you're not alone. This channel exists to help men over 50 protect their energy, circulation, sleep, and confidence with calm, honest guidance. No hype, no pressure. Consider subscribing if you value straightforward medical insight delivered with care. Tell me where you're watching from. It's inspiring to see this community grow across the world. In the next video, I'll share a simple nightly habit that quietly supports blood flow while you sleep, something most men never hear about.